Revealed, child selects an inspiring cleaner over 5 millionaires, discovering a heartwarming bond. In the vibrant suburb of Maplewood, where the sun gleamed on picket-fenced homes and laughter echoed down the sidewalks, young Ethan made a choice that would leave everyone speechless. While his classmates buzzed about tech moguls and real estate tycoons, Ethan's heart led him to Sarah, a hardworking house cleaner and single mother. The classroom erupted with surprise. How could a child choose a woman struggling to make ends meet over those dripping in luxury? But little did they know, this decision would unveil a bond deeper and more transformative than they could imagine. Ethan dove into Sarah's story like an adventurer uncovering hidden treasure. Her husband had passed away, leaving her with 2 kids and a heart full of dreams dimmed by the shadows of grief and hardship. Each day, Sarah juggled multiple jobs, and with each cleaning job, Ethan witnessed her quiet strength and dignity. He watched Sarah scrub floors while proclaiming, "You clean a house, you clean a heart." That simple phrase sent shivers down Ethan's spine. As he tagged along with Sarah, they entered homes filled with stories and love. Family photos adorned the walls, children's art glittered on refrigerators, and the sound of giggles resonated like cheerful music. Ethan observed how Sarah turned each job into an act of kindness, leaving spaces not just spotless but imbued with warmth and joy. His admiration grew, catching fire in his heart. However, just as they began to forge a powerful friendship, disaster struck. One fateful morning, Sarah's old car sputtered and gasped, finally succumbing to age on a lonely road. With bills piling up, Ethan's heart sank. How would Sarah make it to her jobs? This crumbling moment ignited fear in Ethan's chest, tightening it like a vice. In the face of uncertainty, something stirred within Ethan. Instead of retreating into worry, he rallied his classmates, sparking a wave of hope. "Let us help Sarah," he proclaimed, igniting a warmth and determination that hadn't been seen in their community before. As neighbors poured out of their homes, armed with tools and goodwill, the air crackled with excitement. Barriers began to dissolve, smiles replaced skepticism as compassion took center stage. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Ethan poured all his emotions into his presentation. Standing before his classmates, his heart raced. Real worth isn't about money, he declared fiercely, fueled by the unity he witnessed. He shared Sarah's story, the struggles, the dreams, and the unwavering spirit. The skeptical faces began to soften, leaning forward as he painted vivid pictures of her life, but just as the bell rang, slicing through his moment of connection, Ethan felt that he hadn't finished. Heart pounding, thoughts racing, he stood frozen, leaving an extraordinary chapter unresolved. Would his classmates embrace the lessons Sarah had instilled in him? Would they learn to see each individual's journey? The question hung in the air, leaving everyone in that room breathless, hearts beating with the hopes of what was yet to come. Ethan's heart raced as he watched his classmates, their expressions shifting from surprise to intrigue. The room was layered with the sound of shifting chairs and whispered conversations. Uncertain murmurs bubbled like a pot coming to a boil. The aura of anticipation surrounded him as he desperately wanted to convince them to care, to feel what he felt. "Wait," he blurted out, the urgency in his voice freezing the chatter. "I need you all to understand. Sarah isn't just a cleaner. She's a hero." His words hung in the air, and he could see a flicker of interest in his peers' eyes. Ethan pressed on, determined to seize this moment. "Sarah wakes up every morning before the sun rises. She sacrifices her sleep to make sure her kids are ready for school. And while we're playing video games, she's out there scrubbing down kitchens and mopping floors for people who take that work for granted." Ethan's voice cracked slightly, weighed down by the truth. When she cleans, she doesn't just wipe away dirt. She wipes away despair. A few students nodded, contemplating his words, and Ethan could feel hope ignite. One classmate, Jenna, raised her hand and asked softly, "Why don't people just appreciate her more?" Ethan's mind raced. Exactly. How can we expect to understand someone's pain if we never take the time to see them? He couldn't believe how quickly this turned into a deeper conversation. Just then, the teacher, Mr. Johnson, approached. "Ethan, it's clear this means a lot to you. Perhaps we can direct this into a school project? A fundraiser or something we can do as a class?" Ethan's heart soared at the suggestion. "Yes. We can host a bake sale, a car wash, anything. We can raise money for a new car for Sarah." He looked around, and his classmates began to nod, vibrations of enthusiasm rippling through the room. "We can do it together," shouted Marcus, a typically quiet boy who often kept to himself. His voice surprised everyone, fueling the energy already churning. "Let's take a vote," cried Jenna, raising her hand again, her excitement infectious. Almost every hand went up in support. The classroom erupted into cheers, as if they had just won a championship game. But as the glee spread through Ethan, a shadow of worry crept back in. What if they failed? What if they couldn't raise enough? The weight of that doubt made him momentarily quiet, but the smiles around him reassured him. They were in this together now. The day whizzed by with plans taking shape. Posters covered the walls, baking supplies littered the home economics room, and every excited chatter filled the air. The sense of community began to blossom, blooming like flowers in spring. After school, Ethan slipped into the back seat of Sarah's old car. The engine roared, but smoke began to curl up like a phantom. They needed a new one. But where would the money come from? Could this small town really rally behind Sarah? That night, Ethan lay awake, his mind racing. Each dream spun with visions of Sarah, grateful and smiling behind the wheel of a new car. But what would it take to make that dream a reality? As he stared at the ceiling, he clutched his pillow tightly, feeling that small spark of doubt crumble bit by bit. The fire of resolve sparked again. "We can do this, we have to do this," he whispered to the darkness, heart set on change. Tomorrow would be a turning point, but could they truly achieve what they set out to do? Ethan woke the next morning to golden rays of sunlight filtering through his curtains, illuminating the room with a warmth that blinked away his lingering doubts. Today was the day everything could change. He jumped out of bed, fueled by anticipation, and made a beeline for his phone. He had a message to send. "Hey everyone. Remember, we're meeting right after school in the cafeteria to finalize our plans. Let's make this the best fundraiser ever." He sent the message and felt an exhilarating rush. His classmates were actually on board. This was more than just a project, it felt like a movement. He couldn't help but smile as he envisioned posters being plastered across town, their bright colors drawing people in. Classes went by in a blur of excitement and nerve. At lunch, Ethan spotted Jenna and Marcus huddled over a table with posters and colorful markers spread out like a canvas. "Look at this," Jenna said, beaming as they approached. The poster read, "Change a life, support Sarah's journey." The letters were bold and decorated with drawings of hearts and cars. "This is amazing," Ethan exclaimed, feeling the energy in the air intensify. "What do you need me to help with?" "With the bake sale, we need to figure out recipes people will love." "Cupcakes? Cookies?" Marcus suggested, brushing his glasses up his nose, his quiet demeanor replaced by purpose. "Everything," Jenna said, pointing to another poster that declared, "Buy a treat, change a life." Lunchtime faded into a hectic afternoon of planning, organizing supplies, and rallying more students into their cause. When the final bell rang, Ethan felt astonished to see how many had volunteered. They were a team now, united by a larger goal. As they gathered in the cafeteria, Ethan stood on a chair to gather their attention. "Okay, everyone. This is the plan," he said, heart pounding with excitement. He was met with expectant looks, and he felt the weight of their hopes resting on him. "We're going to set up a booth this weekend at the park. We'll sell baked goods, offer car washes, and we're even going to put together a thank you video for Sarah. We can show her just how much she means to us." Cheers filled the room, but amidst the excitement, Ethan couldn't shake the worry gnawing at him. Would this be enough? That night, only half sure of what the morning would bring, he drifted off to sleep with visions of success dancing in his mind. But just as he began to relax, a nagging thought crept in. What if they didn't raise enough? What if the video fell flat? On the day of the fundraisers, everything already felt electric. He woke early, his heart racing at the thought of everything that lay ahead. The park buzzed with energy as families passed by, laughter mingling with the scent of freshly baked goods wafting through the air. Ethan manned the booth alongside Jenna and Marcus, handing out colorful treats and watching the crowds grow. For every cupcake they sold, it felt like a step closer to fixing Sarah's car. But just when he thought the momentum couldn't get any better, something unexpected happened. A local news crew arrived, cameras flashing and reporters asking questions. "Can we interview you about the fundraiser?" one of them asked. Ethan's pulse quickened. This could be at the moment their efforts went beyond the small town. He took a deep breath and nodded, a spark of determination igniting inside him. This could inspire more people to join their cause. Ethan glanced at his friends, who were beaming with pride. They really could pull this off. But with that thought came another stirring deep within him. Would their efforts be enough to turn Sarah's situation around, or was it merely a drop in the ocean of her struggles? As they filmed, Ethan's voice rang clear, filled with hope. He was ready to share Sarah's story with the world. But the real question loomed larger than ever: would this be the turning point he dreamt of, or would they still fall short? With these thoughts swirling in his mind, he couldn't help but wonder, what if their small act of kindness had the power to create ripples far beyond what they imagined? Ethan stood in front of the camera, heart pounding, as the reporter smiled encouragingly. "Tell us a little about why you're doing this," she asked, her microphone capturing the ambient sounds of the park. He opened his mouth and felt the weight of his words. "We're fundraising to help our friend Sarah. She's been dealing with a tough situation after her car broke down, and we just want to show her she's not alone." As he spoke, he saw the faces in the background, a mix of curious onlookers, parents and children drawn to their booth. The way they listened, some nodding along, made his heart swell with hope and a tinge of disbelief. In that moment, it felt less like a fundraiser and more like a community rallying together against adversity. The reporter's eyes sparkled with interest. "Why do you think it's important?" Ethan hesitated just a moment, considering the depths of what he wanted to convey. How Sarah wasn't just a friend, she was like family to many. "Because," he said, finding his voice, "when someone needs help, it's our job to step up. Honestly, Sarah is the kind of person who would do the same for any of us." The cameraman shifted focus to Jenna and Marcus, both of whom beamed with sincerity and pride. "So, what are some fun things people can look forward to today?" The reporter continued, directing the conversation onwards. Jenna took the opportunity to chime in, excitement spilling over. "We have a bake sale featuring cookies, brownies, and Ethan's famous cupcakes. Plus, we're doing car washes, and there's a donation box for those who want to help even if they can't stop by." The reporter's enthusiasm was contagious. "And how are you feeling about this turnout?" "We're overwhelmed," Marcus said, his shyness fading in their moment of joy. "The community has really come together, and it feels amazing." Ethan couldn't deny the pride swelling in him as he watched his friends speak so passionately. It was more than just a fundraiser, it was about connections, friendship, and showing compassion. "We're alive and well." As the segment wrapped up, Ethan felt a wave of relief wash over him, along with an adrenaline rush. They had put themselves out there, and now everyone in town would know about Sarah and how they were reaching out to help. He looked at the growing lines of people waiting to buy treats. Could it matter more? Time zipped by as families filled their hands with baked goods. Ethan felt a twinge of disbelief as he saw the donations piling quickly in the box. Laughter, chatter, and the occasional squeal of excitement mixed with the warm sun overhead. For a moment, everything seemed perfect, but amid all this joy, his lingering thoughts resurfaced. Would this be enough to truly make a difference? What if when they finally delivered the help, it wasn't enough? At that moment, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He fished it out, glancing at the screen. It was a message from Sarah. The knot in his stomach tightened even as he felt a rush of warmth from her name. Ethan. I can't believe what you guys are doing. Thank you, but I don't want you to go through all this trouble. His heart sank. She deserved to be rescued, not to feel guilty. What if she didn't realize how much everyone cared? He quickly typed back, no trouble at all. We're happy to help. Can't wait to see you. As the buzz of the park continued, the truth settled deep within him: every ounce of their effort was worth it. But now, he wondered, how would they convince Sarah that accepting help was not a burden, but a bridge to the care she deserved? The day wasn't over yet, and above the laughter, a question lingered in the air: would Sarah see their love, or would she hold tight to her pride? Ethan's heart raced as he mulled over Sarah's message. It was hard to reconcile the joyful atmosphere surrounding him with her feelings of guilt. He wanted to shout, to tell her that this was what friends were for: lifting each other up, not letting any one person carry the weight alone. Hey, check this out. Jenna called, snapping Ethan out of his thoughts. She was standing near their booth, waving a colorful flyer in the air. Someone just donated a bunch of gift baskets. We could raffle them off to raise even more for Sarah. His eyes widened as he jogged over. The baskets were brimming with goodies: local crafts, jars of homemade jam, even tickets to the upcoming county fair. It felt like the universe was rallying behind them. This is amazing! He exclaimed, a grin spreading over his face. Right? Marcus chimed in, his eyes sparkling. Imagine how much we could raise. As they began preparing for the raffle, Ethan felt renewed energy coursing through him. This was more than just a fundraiser, it was a testament to the strength of their community and the love they shared. He began to believe they could make a real difference, but then a shadow crossed his thoughts. What if Sarah still didn't see it that way? He felt determined to change that. They needed to show her, somehow, that accepting this rallying wasn't about shame, it was about love. Later, as the sun began to set, the park was awash in vibrant colors. Families packed up their picnic blankets, while children chased each other, laughter ringing through the air. Jenna and Marcus were busy setting up the raffle table now, securing the baskets with bright ribbons. Ethan glanced towards the parking lot. He spotted a familiar car slowly rolling in. His heart skipped a mix of excitement and worry. Was Sarah really coming? When Sarah emerged, looking hesitant yet curious, Ethan's stomach churned. She wore a soft smile, but there was an undeniable weight in her eyes. He strolled over, his heart in his throat. Hey, Sarah! He called, waving her over with a warmth he hoped would reach her. Hi, Ethan, she replied, glancing around at the scene. People waved, welcoming her, but she seemed red in the face. I just wanted to see what you guys had going on here. Trust me, you're gonna love it, Ethan said, gesturing toward the laughter and happy chatter. We've got cupcakes, car washes, and he paused dramatically, the best raffle you've ever seen. She chuckled softly, but it didn't seem to reach her eyes. You didn't have to do this for me. Really? The affection in her voice gnawed at him because it felt like regret wrapped in gratitude. We wanted to, Sarah, he insisted, stepping closer. This isn't about obligation, it's about supporting you. Please let us show how much we care. The crowd around them kept buzzing, and Ethan felt the urgency to make her understand. It's like the raffle, he continued, no longer caring if he sounded a little desperate. If someone wins a basket, it's not just luck. It's a reminder of how love works when you're connected. You share your wins and your struggles. We want you to feel that connection. Sarah's brow furrowed, and for a moment, Ethan felt like they were suspended in time. Her eyes glimmered, hinting at the conflict brewing inside. Would she accept what they offered? I don't want to be a burden, she whispered. Then let us be a blessing, Ethan replied softly, his heart aching to convey how much they cared. Allow us to stand with you, we're all in this together. Just then, the crowd erupted in cheers, holding up their raffle tickets as Jenna announced the first winner. The joy in the air was palpable, yet Ethan couldn't shake the heavy uncertainty hanging between him and Sarah. Would she take that first step toward accepting their love? Or would pride continue to stand in the way, leaving her feeling alone even among a crowd of support? The answer felt just out of reach, and with the sound of the community celebrating, Ethan could only hope that Sarah would finally understand the strength of friendship. The laughter and cheers of the crowd blended together like a symphony of support, drowning out Ethan's racing thoughts. It felt like everything around him vibrated with hope, yet the unmistakable tension between him and Sarah lingered in the air like a thick fog. He could see it in her stance, her arms crossed tightly against her chest, as if she were shielding herself from the warmth of the moment. Come on, Sarah, Ethan urged gently, a determined smile breaking through the worry on his face. Just give it a shot. Join us for one of the games. You might even find a moment to laugh. For a fleeting moment, her gaze flickered towards the laughing children darting past them, their faces illuminated with joy. The corners of her mouth twitched, threatening to smile, but it faded just as quickly as it appeared. I don't know. It feels wrong to be the center of attention right now. Ethan took a breath, letting his frustration settle into determination. You're not the center of attention. We're doing this together. You're with us, and we want you here. It's not just about you, it's about all of us. We care about you, and we want you to know you're not alone. As the first winner was announced, the crowd erupted into cheers again, and Jenna paraded around with a basket, beaming with pride. One of the children jumped up, happily waving their ticket in the air, and Ethan's heart swelled at the joyous sense of camaraderie that enveloped them, but still, Sarah stood resolute, the joy of the moment filtered through her internal doubts. Ethan's resolve deepened. Maybe if he could show her just how much support surrounded her, if he could help her feel even a fraction of the love the community had for her, she might open herself up. Let us play a game together. Just one? Ethan suggested, his eyes earnest. I'll be right by your side. You won. Regretted at last, the slightest crack appeared on her stoic facade. Okay, but only for a little while, she relented, her voice a soft whisper again, but this time tinged with the tiniest hint of hope. Ethan felt light on his feet, eager to help her shed the burden she carried alone. He extended his hand, beckoning her to join. With hesitant steps, Sarah reached out, a tentative smile breaking through the storm of emotions. They moved toward the nearest game booth, Ethan brimming with excitement. This one's a classic fishing for prizes. Just got a reel in something cool. As they began to play, with the laughter of others swirling around them, something shifted. Sarah's laughter bubbled up unexpectedly as a plastic fish landed in her hands. The sound was sweet as honey, yet a soft spark of tension remained, hovering ever so close. Just then, Marcus approached, his arm laden with a plate of cupcakes. Hey, you two. You have to try one of these. They're delicious and totally fit for a winner. Ethan grinned, turning to Sarah. See? No pressure, just fun. That's all this is about. He offered her a cupcake, and she took it, her fingers brushing against his. She looked down at the treat, a flicker of uncertainty crossing her face, but then slowly lifted her gaze to meet his, her smile widening. Okay, you win. It is kinda sweet. I told you. He exclaimed, a rush of relief crashing over him, but in that moment of connection, her expression shifted. The fleeting joy faltered, and she hesitated. But what if no what ifs right now, Ethan interrupted gently, his heart pounding at the vulnerability he sensed. Let us just be here, in this moment. You deserve to enjoy this, too. Sarah nodded, the weight of worry still evident but loosening its grip. As they continued to play, surrounded by laughter and cheers, Ethan felt hope stir deeper within him. Perhaps this was the moment that would change everything for Sarah, a chance for her to let go of her burdens, even if just for a short while, and then like the final crescendo of a song Jenna excitedly called out, "Get ready for the grand prize winner. You're not going to want to miss who gets to take home the biggest basket." Ethan's pulse quickened. Knowing the prize could symbolize not only community support but also a chance for Sarah to accept love in a new way, he turned to her. "No matter what happens, remember, we're with you." What would it take for Sarah to fully embrace the love around her? Would the reveal of the grand prize winner shift her perspective even further? The crowd buzzed with anticipation as Jenna took center stage, her voice cutting through the excitement like a spotlight. Ethan felt the tension rise in the air, a palpable mix of hope and anxiety. Sarah stood beside him, shifting her weight from one foot to another, her smile now dimming as the moment approached. "Let us see who our grand prize winner is," Jenna announced, her eyes sparkling as she held the oversized ticket that would change someone's day, maybe even life. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on Sarah's back, feeling the warmth radiate through the thin fabric of her shirt. "No matter what happens, you've already won today," he whispered, his voice low and steady. He wanted her to know that this was more than just a game, it was a step towards something brighter, a promise that even in the darkest times, there were glimmers of light. As Jenna pulled the ticket from the bowl, a hush fell over the crowd. Ethan felt his heart pounding louder than the bass booming from the nearby music. The vibrant colors of the festival blurred together as he focused on Sarah, searching her face for any sign of her feeling seen, if only for a moment. "And the winner is," Jenna's voice rang out, each word dripping with drama. A child, barely old enough to understand what was happening, squealed in delight as Jenna met their wide eyes and shouted, "Sarah Beta." The uproar that followed felt surreal. People cheered, clapped, and whistled, their excitement shaking the very ground beneath them. Ethan turned to Sarah, ready to see her face light up as the joy of victory wrapped around her. But what he found was something different. Her expression was a mixture of shock and confusion. "Me?" she murmured, disbelief etched into the lines of her face. "It can't be me." Ethan felt the rush of warmth that had been building around them wane slightly as he saw the shadows creeping back into her eyes. He stepped closer, urgency bubbling in his chest. "Yes, you. You are the winner. This is your moment." But Sarah shook her head, still trying to process the enormity of it all. "I don't deserve this," she whispered as Jenna waved her over, gesturing for her to come to the stage. The jubilant crowd was now a chorus of support, chanting her name. "Sarah! Sarah! Sarah!" The cheers reverberated through her, and Ethan could see the flicker of something inside her, a battle between fighting for her own worth and the rush of love and recognition from those around her. "You're not alone, remember?" he urged softly. "Let them celebrate you. Let yourself be celebrated." Tears formed in Sarah's eyes, her defenses beginning to waver against the tide of affection. He could tell she was fighting against the very notion of being loved and appreciated, and it was tearing him apart to watch. "Just take a step forward," he encouraged, firm yet gentle. "You've carried so much for so long. Let this be a moment where you let go and accept the arms outstretched for you." Taking a deep breath, Sarah seemed to allow the words to wash over her. Tentatively, she took a step toward the stage, each movement filled with a blend of trepidation and sheer resolve. The crowd's energy surged, fueling her every step. Ethan felt a flicker of hope ignite within him. Maybe, just maybe, this moment could be the turning point she needed. But as Sarah reached the edge of the stage, a cruel doubt crossed her mind, and he could see it reflected in her posture. "Wait!" she cried out, freezing in her tracks. "What if I fail? Ethan's heart lurched at the vulnerability spilling over her face. The spotlight dimmed just enough for the question to sink in. What did it really mean to accept love? What if that love only made the fall harder? Before he could respond, Jenna called down, "Come on, Sarah. We're all cheering for you." The crowd erupted again, but this time it felt like a tidal wave of pressure. Ethan could see the struggle etched into Sarah's features. Would she embrace this moment, or retreat into the shadows? It was in that charged silence, with every eye on her, that Sarah had to make a choice. Would she step into the spotlight, or would she take a step back? Ethan held his breath, desperately hoping she would see the truth in her heart. As the moment hung in the air, he whispered, "You're so much stronger than you think. Trust in that." With the world watching, would Sarah find the courage to say yes to the love and celebration awaiting her? The air felt thick with tension as everyone watched Sarah, the weight of 1,000 expectations resting on her shoulders. The chants grew louder, reverberating like drums of encouragement, fueling the air with possibility. Yet, Sarah remained frozen, her face a canvas of fears painted in colors of doubt and disbelief. Ethan's heart pounded as he felt her hesitation, the silent war within her. He stepped closer, lowering his voice further to a whisper. "You heard them. They believe in you. Why can't you believe in yourself?" Sarah's eyes brimmed with tears. "What if I let them down?" She choked out, her voice barely above the rhythmic shouts of her name. His breath caught. "What if you don't? Think of all you've done to get here. Your heart, it deserves this moment." He gestured towards the stage, now a radiant beacon of possibility. As Jenna continued to smile brightly at Sarah, beckoning her forward, the crowd transformed their chants into a harmonious melody, as if the universe itself urged her to take the leap. The energy was electric, a force that made the hairs on the back of Ethan's neck stand tall. "Look around you," he insisted, pointing to the faces in the audience. "These people see you. They see your strength. You're not letting them down, you're inspiring them." He thought of all the times she had put others first, the strength she lent friends and family even when she felt weak. In that moment, through the sea of ecstatic strangers, Sarah finally met Ethan's gaze. For the first time, she found a glimmer of the person who once believed she could shine. The corners of her mouth twitched, caught between fear and a hint of hope. Without breaking eye contact, she took a deep breath and lifted her foot, casting aside the weight of her doubt. Step by step, everything seemed to fade but her resolve. The cheering crowd became muffled, as if an invisible shield surrounded them in a bubble of shared emotion. Then, as if in slow motion, she climbed the stairs leading to the stage. The spotlight found her, casting warmth around her as she approached Jenna. Ethan felt a swell of pride within him. "Sarah Beta." Jenna beamed, presenting her with the oversized check with sparkling zeros written across its face. "You are our grand prize winner. You did it." Sarah's eyes widened as she accepted the check, disbelief dancing in her features as it resonated with a mix of astonishment and humble gratitude. An overwhelming wave of emotion washed over her, the kind that rooted deep in the soul, awakening dreams from their long slumber. The crowd erupted again, a celebratory roar that filled the festival grounds, encasing her in joy like an unbreakable shield. Tears streamed down her cheeks, shimmering against the harsh lights, but this time they weren't just tears of confusion, they were tears of release. Ethan's heart soared. She was no longer just standing amid the applause, she was truly embracing it. "Believe you deserve it, Sarah," he shouted above the cacophony, his chest tight with emotion. In this moment, she was a warrior. Her smile broke through, wide and brilliant, as if she was finally descending from a mountain she had long climbed. "I accept," she called out, her voice breaking yet fierce, causing the crowd to react with even more fervor. But before Ethan could join in the jubilation, a tiny voice piped up from the back of the crowd. "What now, Sarah?" Ethan turned sharply to see a small girl, wide-eyed and curious. The question hung in the air, innocently profound. As the cheers continued, Sarah's expression shifted, a flicker of uncertainty returning. She hadn't thought beyond this moment of triumph. Would she know what to do next? A new journey was about to begin, and Ethan could feel the excitement churn within him. Would Sarah step into this new phase and truly claim her victory? The eruption of the crowd washed over Sarah like a wave, but within her, a storm brewed. She stood on stage, clutching a giant check, the applause ringing in her ears while her heart raced with unexpected fears. The little girl's question lingered, echoing in the midst of celebration. What now, Sarah? Jenna stepped closer, the enthusiasm never fading from her smile. Now, you inspire, she urged, her voice bright with confidence. You show them what it means to follow your dreams, to chase passions. This is just the beginning. For a moment, Sarah could almost see the whole path stretching out before her, countless possibilities, new challenges, and a road that, until now, she had only dared to imagine. Yet that flicker of excitement was doused by the chill of uncertainty. What if she didn't know how to inspire? What if she stumbled when they looked to her for guidance? Breathe, Ethan whispered as he moved to stand beside her, a steady presence. His hand brushed against hers, reassuring and warm. You're not in this alone. The crowd began to chant her name again, a powerful and rhythmic pulse that seemed to throb with life. But what did they truly expect from her? Would she be able to give them what they needed, what they believed in? Shall we? Jenna prompted, pulling Sarah into a deeper embrace of excitement, the kind that only comes from shared victories. But Sarah hesitated. She stole a quick glance at the cheering faces, searching for a hint of belief among them, something that indicated she was worthy of leading this charge. I don't think I can, Sarah admitted, her voice shaking slightly as she shared her vulnerable truth. The smile on Jenna's face faltered just for a second, but Ethan squeezed her hand tighter, grounding her in their united front. Yes, you can, he breathed. You don't have to have all the answers. Just be yourself. That's enough. With his words fueling her spirit, Sarah took a step forward, her cheeks flushed with renewed determination. The crowd quieted, anticipation hanging in the air as she finally spoke out loud. Thank you all. For believing in me. I promise I'll give it my all. The patience echoed, a chorus of support enveloping her, lifting her spirit higher. But beyond the shouts and cheers, Sarah felt something shift within. Deep down, she understood that victory wasn't simply about winning this check, it was about the potential to change lives, hers included. As the crowd's applause crescendoed, she began to see new scenarios unfold in her mind, leadership workshops, motivational talks, even the little girl who had initially posed the question becoming a force for change herself someday, and then, just as the excitement began to fill her, a sharp voice cut through the cheers. But Sarah, what are you really going to do? Are you just going to disappear like everyone else? The crowd quieted again, absorbing the challenge. A sea of faces turned toward her, searching for authenticity, seeking real connection, while her heart thumped a rapid beat in her chest. Ethan let go of her hand, stepping back as the intensity of the moment ramped up around them. Sarah faced the crowd, a whirlpool of thoughts swirling in her mind. This was a turning point, one where she would either embrace her voice or fade into the background like so many before her. Could she truly rise to the occasion? With eyes locked on hers, the audience waited. The world seemed to still, the air electric with possibility. Sarah drew a deep breath. Okay, I know what I will do, she finally declared, words spilling from her heart. But before she could dive into her plans, a roaring cheer startled her. Confusion knitted her brow, the sound felt charged with unspoken expectations. As she gathered herself for the revelation that awaited, Ethan looked on with pride and anticipation. He could almost hear her heart echoing each step. What could Sarah possibly say that would satisfy the urging crowd? Would it be enough to carry her into the next chapter of her life? The thrill of it all swept them away, but the answer still lingered just out of reach. As Sarah stood on that stage, a vibrant check clutched in her hands, she realized something profound. This wasn't just about the financial support, it was about acknowledgement, community, and a promise, one that had taken root in her heart. The crowd, electrified, leaned in. Their energy pulsed like a heartbeat, urging her to speak, to share the dreams she had buried under layers of sacrifice and doubt. The question hung in the air, hanging heavy with the weight of everyone's expectations. What will you do? I want to give back. She shouted, her voice steady now, the initial tremor washed away by the tide of encouragement. I want to help others the way you've helped me. Dreams get buried under the weight of reality, but today I'm rising. For every gesture of kindness you've shown, I'm dedicating this moment to make sure no one feels alone like I did. The eruption of applause was thunderous, shaking the ground beneath her. Ethan beamed, realizing the power of her transformation. He could see her strength blooming, vibrant and undeniable. I'm going to set up workshops, Sarah continued, eyes sparkling with determination, where we can share our stories, where we can lift each other. I want to support single parents, just like me, remind them that they are seen and valued. Every child deserves to feel supported, every individual deserves to know they are worthy. Cheers erupted from the crowd, echoing her newfound purpose. It was no longer just about a new car, it was about building a bridge of hope that could carry others in their darkest moments. Each cheer felt like a wave, lifting her higher as she spoke. Ethan stood in awe, tears welling in his eyes. Sarah was owning her story, redefining her place in the world, and inviting others to step forward. This was a victory that resonated far beyond a material prize, it was a victory of the spirit. The scene shifted before him like a movie reel. Sarah walking away from barriers, healing with love, community gathered around her, hands linked. As the clamor of their shared joy filled the air, the vision transformed into something bigger, a network of interconnected lives, all shining brighter together. As the crowd continued to chant her name, Sarah turned to look at Ethan, who stood there, encouragement radiating from him. He nodded earnestly, eyes reflecting unwavering support, setting the stage for Sarah to embrace the challenges ahead. In a moment of quiet, she whispered, "Together." It was simple yet powerful, and it resonated through him. Later that week, Owen, the principal, announced the establishment of the Maplewood Supportive Network, a community initiative inspired by Sarah and led by Ethan's transformed class. It became a hub of hope, echoing the love they'd all shared that day. This wasn't just Sarah's journey, it was theirs. Together, they had created a ripple effect, spreading kindness like wildfire. The workshops blossomed, and soon the entire community was engaged in uplifting one another. The vibrancy of hope painted every corner of Maplewood, reminding everyone that true worth isn't measured by wealth but by the hearts we touch. Sarah thrived, and the laughter of children filled the air as they painted murals of dreams on local walls, honoring their stories. As if watching a sunset paint the sky with hues of gold, Ethan smiled. The love they had ignited would shine bright, leading them into the futures they all deserved together. So, what's the next chapter for you? You have the power to be the change. If this story resonated with you, don't wait another second. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that can inspire change in your life. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and show your support for uplifting content. Comment your thoughts and feelings about this ending below, let us spark a conversation. And please, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness their own transformation. This is the moment to show your support. We're in this journey together.